Why, hello everybody, it's GleeCon, and I'm here one more time, bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft, and I thank you so much for tuning in. This is a show where we cover everything in the World of Warcraft universe, the ins and outs of the game. So that might be in the game where we play all the quests and we do all the lore and we do every line of content that's typed up by those guys, and the outs, the non-canon and canon lore of all sorts of form, books, websites, videos, manga, anything that we can find and get our little hands on. So we've been going back and doing a series now once a week where we cover some of the non-canon lore, and one of them is a series of fables and legends, short stories. I can't remember what it's called. Fables and something or other. That is of Azeroth. Fables and Tales, maybe. But it's basically a children's nighttime story book, and we're kind of reading our way through. So without further ado, let's read another one of those stories today. This one is called Stones, Moss, and Tears. This is an uploaded book because there might be a digital copy available. I haven't looked into it. But I received a very nice, well-crafted print handbound book not handbound, whatever, just a print book. So I wasn't going to rebuy a digital. So I upload this. This story is by Molly Knox Ostertag, and it's illustrated by Zoltan Boros. I think we're probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way through the book. There's a symbol. Oh, I guess mine didn't. I didn't upload the second picture. I don't think it recorded very well, but there's always like this little ring that has the symbol. So this is the one that goes with this little potion bottle. Fondness-filled Illyrian fog song smile. I remember when you first appeared at my door, Sentinel Bloomblade, armored and determined to speak with the mysterious hermit of the bog. You were bold enough then to make the journey down the slopes of Mount Hyjal to my reclusive home and demand a rare antidote for an ailing sister-in-arms, no matter the cost. Does such boldness elude you now? I can be bold on behalf of others, Kita said. She sank into one of Illyrian's musty cushions, hiding her face. But not for myself. How could I pursue a beautiful heart like Toreth's? I am certain he has no knowledge of my existence. You exaggerate, the hermit said, listening to his customer with half an ear as he measured out ground carnelian. The elder night elf was perched at his desk, surrounded by bottles. Light from the cauldron fire played across his lined face. Regrettably, no, groaned Kita. I saw him in the stables today. For all my so-called boldness, when I tried to offer greetings and Elun's blessing, the words stuck in my throat. An onlooking priestess believed I was choking on something, and made quite the display of healing me. I can only hope he politely excused himself from the scene. Well, mused Illyrian, tapping the powder into his potion, but it seems he's aware of your existence now. Surely that is a comfort. He dodged the pillow just in time. Easy, he said with a chuckle. I will charge you double if you make me begin again. Kita grumbled, pulling herself up and pacing restlessly around the little cottage. She was tall even for a night elf, and had to duck to avoid the thicket of herbs hanging from the alchemist's ceiling. You should be happy for my loyal patronage. Most wouldn't leave the shade of Nordrassil just to acquire potions, and fewer from the mysterious hermit of the bog. Why do you live all the way down here? Illyrian ignored her question, stirring the potion with a glass rod. It changed from murky gray to a clear blue. Dear Kita, you know my craft is worth the journey. Here you are, one tonic for stubborn scars. He raised an eyebrow. Always buying wares for your sister sentinels. Kita smiled, counting out silver pieces. They're all I have in this world. Thank you kindly, Illyrian. He corked the potion and handed it to her. Ande Thorasethil, Kita. Good luck courting Master Toreth. She took the potion but hesitated on her way out the door. Tomorrow night, the sentinels are conducting a ceremony. I will be honored with embellishments on my facial markings to commemorate my deeds. Many congratulations, he said, already scrubbing the cauldron. I was wondering if you would like to join us, Kita said in a rush, just for the company, and if you have family in the village, you could bring them, of course. Illyrian looked up sharply. Kita had been coming to him for wares and conversation for a long time now. He truly was better than any other alchemist in the village, but he rarely made eye contact. She stepped back, for his pale gold eyes looked almost angry or scared. No, thank you, he said, and the look faded to his familiar distracted smile. Tomorrow night is the full moon, and I must harvest the dew bulbs. The Kaldor would not wish to be disturbed by the mysterious hermit of the bog. Of course. My apologies, Kita bowed her head. Until we meet again. It would have been nice to have someone at the ceremony besides her sentinel sisters. Close as she was with them, they all had partners and families of their own. Her family had insisted she take up the mantle of druid, as all her ancestors had done before her, but it was not the life for her, and they couldn't see past a broken tradition. They'd never be satisfied with the accomplishments of a sentinel. She scanned the crowd during the ceremony just in case, but Illyrian had not come either. Of course he hadn't. She'd invited him to visit her in the village many times with no success. Her fellow sentinels waved and shouted congratulations as Kita returned to the barracks. The embellishment was quite an honor. She'd single-handedly defended a shrine from an elder bog beast and escaped with only a few scrapes, but she had just been doing her duty. Being a good soldier had always been easy for her. Other things not so much, like Kita Moonblade, Bloomblade. Kita, startled, dropped the potion and dove for it, but it fell through the branches. She scrambled up, trying to make the movement appear dignified. Why did she turn into a graceless oaf around Toreth? Illyrian would have another visit from her sooner than she'd thought. Was that vial important? He asked, looking where the bottle had fallen. Forgive me, she said breezily. I did not realize you knew my name. Blessings of Elune upon you, Lord Keeper. She felt awkward and ridiculously tall. Toreth Bluestar was small, almost a full head shorter than her, with handsome features, teal skin, and a wild tangle of green hair that Kita would have very much liked to run her hands through. It is my duty to know the names of every sentinel, Toreth explained, looking down at a scroll. I had a few questions concerning your battle with the bog beast. Is now a good time to discuss the details? He didn't wait for an answer, swinging around and leading her into the village. Is it your duty to ask about our battles? Kita asked, following him. Whenever a deed is particularly noteworthy, he looked back at her with perfect blue eyes. An elder bog beast felled by your hand alone. Impressive. Noteworthy deeds, Kita muttered, thinking. Just offering a prayer of thanks to Elune, she said, squeezing her eyes shut in embarrassment, but she opened them hurriedly. It would be just her luck to fall off the mountain in front of Toreth. So here's a picture of probably the hermit and probably her, the sentinel. Usually we get one pretty nice print per chapter. And the pull quote here is, when someone values you for usefulness alone, you will find yourself used. That kind of hits. I have a plan, Kita declared. I will impress him with unmatched feats of heroism. Illyrian raised his eyebrows at her skeptically. And what will that do? Give him a reason to notice me, Kita explained. I do not possess any other desirable qualities, but I am a good soldier. Perhaps that will be enough. The hermit frowned. When someone values you for usefulness alone, you will find yourself used. If this Toreth is a good person, you won't need to perform for him. Kita snorted. Now the alchemist who lives leagues away from any other soul has advice on love. Illyrian set down his alembic in a huff. Kita, from all you have told me of your life, you are a remarkable person. Your family saw you as a boy when you were born, but you knew you were female. That's different, Kita said. That's just who I am. Okay, so is this like a transgender story here? Weird. But becoming who you are took boldness, Illyrian said. Now you are a beautiful lady and an honored defender of Nordrasil. Someone who deserves love simply because of who she is. Did your family never teach you that? Kita fidgeted with a fraying strap on her armor. Every man in my family has given himself to druidism. I am neither of those things, but my family could not stomach the broken tradition. According to them, I ended the line of Bloomblade druids, one of the oldest of all Calderai, their only child choosing instead to become a sentinel, she said. I am alone in the world but for my sisters in arms. Illyrian blinked and his face softened. Well, I suppose there are no lessons about love to be learned from such small-minded folk. But as your wise elder, you should heed me. He corked her potion. See you soon. Kita smiled warmly. Soon. The plan made sense in theory. Kita got to speak with Toreth whenever she performed some heroic deed that warranted recording, so all she had to do was throw herself into increasingly ridiculous amounts of danger and hope she eventually gained the courage to confess her feelings. First it was a void hound escaped from a summoning spell gone wrong, then a stone giant which she tracked across the bog and slew in a deep pool, nearly drowning in the process. She collected scars and bruises aplenty, but her conversations with Toreth never went beyond professionalism. When a marauding band of harpies menaced a little village at the far edges of Hyjal, Kita volunteered to hunt them down, but their numbers were underwhelming for her purposes. Forgetting her bow, she made quick work of them using only a long dagger. And why were you not carrying your bow? Toreth asked, quill poised above his scroll. Kita blushed. I decided I did not need it. Wanted to, test my skill. Toreth raised one perfect eyebrow. And were you satisfied with the result? Kita winced. She had a black eye, a healing scrape on her cheekbone, and lingering bruises from the stone giant. Satisfied may not be the right word. Toreth blinked, and then to Kita's surprise burst into laughter. Do not let a humble lore-keeper tell you how to do your job. If it were me, I would stay at home and avoid all mention of harpies. But you sentinels love your glory. That's me, Kita said miserably. Illyrian was right. The way to Toreth's heart wasn't through noteworthy deeds. Would you care for some tea? He asked suddenly. I just finished drying a batch of jasmine blossoms. A kind offer, but I must decline, she muttered, suddenly consumed by embarrassment and the desire to be anywhere else but there. He's always offering me tea, Kita said, legs propped against the wall in her favorite thinking pose. So gift him some, Illyrian said impatiently. But it would have to be the right tea, Kita said. A tea that says, I seek to court you, but if you are not interested, then let us pretend I never mentioned it. That's asking a lot of dry leaves, Illyrian said. He tossed a paper packet into her lap. Black nutmeg, orange peel, spice root. My own recipe. Shahalorma, Kita said, then sniffed it. Ooh, it smells lovely. Will you gift it to him? Kita grimaced. I doubt it, sadly. Your lack of confidence is almost impressive, Illyrian said, making Kita squawk in protest. You remind me of someone I used to know. He turned away to scan a wall of potion ingredients. I wonder if there might be an alchemical way to help your problem. Who do I remind you of? Kita asked, curiosity getting the better of her. She is long gone, Illyrian said, and a shadow passed across his face, quickly banished. Now do not distract me. I'm going to brew a potion to give you confidence. Why? Illyrian snorted. Not quite. Think of it as a potion to let you see yourself with eyes unclouded, to see that you are more than worthy of Master Toreth. That sounds rather pleasant, Kita said. What's more, I offer it at no cost, Illyrian said. I simply cannot stand to hear your agonizing over this any more. He took down a heavy book, dust puffing from its pages. What do you say? Kita mulled it over. Sounded odd, not quite like a real potion, but Illyrian was a master alchemist and knew how to do things that no one else did. Very well, she said at last. What do you need? I have most of these, Illyrian said, running a finger down the ingredient list, but I'm missing some. 3 crescent stones, 2 moss bunches, and a night saber's tear. Kita grinned. She was good at following a plan. She found 2 smooth gray crescent stones in an antique shop after an afternoon of searching every leafy corner of Nordrassil. The third she begged from another sentinel whose wife had a collection of precious stones. Kita had access to the night saber stables, where she found a steed mourning its fallen rider. She gently begged a few tears from it in exchange for a fresh deer carcass, and comforting scratches behind the great cat's ears. For the moss, she climbed all over the tree searching for different kinds. Illyrian had been frustratingly unspecific. "Goodness, you are thorough," Illyrian exclaimed when she unloaded several baskets of it before his hearth. He picked the most common variety. "You only need ordinary moss?" she asked, dubious. "The most ordinary ingredients contain vast potential," Illyrian said, laying out his tools, while Kita bounced impatiently on the balls of her feet. "I am happy for you." Kita looked at him quizzically. "You do not sound happy." Illyrian paused for just a moment before grabbing a pestle and turning his back to her. "Of course I am. Of every potion I have made, this is the first one for you. And once you see your own worth, nothing will hold you back." "You don't know that," Kita said. "I've lived a very long time," Illyrian said. "These things become predictable after the first few thousand years." So that's the only thing I could think of that would be a giveaway that this had to happen before the Dark Portal, since Night Elves are still living that long. He crossed the cottage and took her hands in his. Kita was surprised at the emotion swimming in his eyes. "But, my dear," he said, "I feel the need to warn you. Pursuing what you want and getting it is a wonderful thing. It also means you have more to lose." Kita blinked. "Can you say it plainer?" Illyrian dropped her hands. "The greater the joy, the greater the pain of loss," he said, and turned back to the potion. Kita frowned. "You tell me to pursue my wishes, then warn me against caring. Which is it?" Illyrian sighed. "You simply remind me of myself from a very long time ago." The cottage was quiet as the potion bubbled. Kita scuffed her boots on the floor, feeling awkward and thoughtless. She had never seriously asked about Illyrian's past. He'd always been the odd alchemist who lived alone in the bog. "May I ask about yourself from very long ago?" she said finally. "It is not much of a tale," Illyrian said. "I had the life I wanted, and then I lost it. And I am left to wonder if the pain was worth the joy." "Is that why you live alone down here?" Kita asked. "Surely loss doesn't mean you never have another chance at happiness." Illyrian chuckled bitterly, taking the potion off the fire. It filled the room with a light, piney scent. "Perhaps Elune favors others with greater fortune, but for me, I dare not try again." He drained the potion through a sieve. "Still, I find purpose in my work, in plants and books, and potions." Here's the pull quote. "I only meant that life is more than service and glory. There can be moments of beauty, too, and us lucky enough to witness them." He turned to a little table where bottles were set out and tagged, tapping them fondly with his fingers. "This one will help new parents with their baby's colic. This will bring luck on the wedding day of two young lovers. This one will give a warrior the stamina they need for the long journey home to visit their family." He nodded to himself. "There is purpose in helping others find happiness, whatever little ways I can." He poured the potion into a clay cup and offered it to her. Kita took it, swirling the dark, steaming liquid. "A wise elf told me my value lay beyond my usefulness," she said. "You may think of yourself as just an alchemist, but I see you as more." She took a determined swig of the potion. It was hot and tasted clean and sharp, the feeling spreading through her chest. "Just as you see me as more than a sentinel." He smiled, perhaps a bit tremulously, but he looked proud as he patted her arm. "Good luck, Kita." The potion wasn't as dramatic as she'd expected, but as she climbed back up Mount Hygel's slope, she felt warm and pleased inside. Just maybe Illyrian was right about her. Maybe she was beautiful, or at least pleasant to look upon, and good company, and a person to be admired for more than her martial prowess. Unfamiliar thoughts, but not unwelcome ones. "Kita Bloomblade," Toreth said. "Oh, we skipped a page. Whoops. Oh no, it just doubled up here. Oh, instead of 164. Okay. So this one, somehow I gotta pull that picture. 1 second, I'll grab it. we're going to read this one right from the book since I must have accidentally just uploaded 161 twice instead of 164. My apologies, guys. Kita marched into his office. The tomes of your deeds grow fuller by the day. What fearsome beast was felled by... Oh, this is the guy. The tomes of your deeds grow fuller by the day. What fearsome beast was felled by your hand this time? None, Lore Keeper, Kita said, settling into her usual chair and holding out the packet of tea leaves. But I have a gift for you. Tea turned into conversation, which turned into plans for another meeting and another. Long after the potion had worn off, she found herself still feeling bolder, readier to believe that Toreth might actually want to spend time with her. One night, Toreth asked her to meet him on the roof of the Sentinel Barracks, though he wouldn't tell her why. They perched on the cool tiles and shared a bottle of silver wine. What are we waiting for? Kita asked, because Toreth kept peering into the darkness of the undertree. You'll see, he said. Ah! First it was just one glow moth, gold fluttering past their faces, then 5, then dozens. A swarm, a cloud shining with blue and gold light. The autumnal migration, Toreth said, lying back on the roof to watch them as they spiraled up into the canopy. There's more to life than just battles. So people keep telling me, Kita said. Family and such. Not all of us have families, Toreth said. I was orphaned very young. I'm sorry, Kita said quickly. I mean, me neither. I mean, they live, but they had their hearts set on a son to carry on our line of druids. But their daughter did not want that life. Toreth smiled at her. Perhaps that is why we understand each other. But I only meant that life is more than service and glory. There can be moments of beauty, too, and us lucky enough to witness them. So I am discovering, Kita said, but she was only seeing the way the glow moths reflected in Toreth's eyes. He brushed his hand against hers, and Kita, even without the potion, knew that meant he wanted to be kissed. What made you finally start courting me? Toreth asked several weeks later when the kiss had been accepted and returned, and more besides. They were idling away the morning in the little residence over his office. Finally? Kita scrunched her nose. I thought I was being subtle. Subtlety is not one of your strong traits, Toreth said, and kissed her on the nose. Luckily you have others. Well, Kita began, a good friend made me a potion for confidence, brewed from crescent stones, moss, and nightstaber tears. I never would have found the bravery without it. Toreth sat back on his heels and gave her a funny look. Kita caught her breath because he was beautiful, and she still could not believe that she got to just look at him. I studied a bit of alchemy, he said. All those ingredients are completely useless. Kita blinked. Useless? She burst into laughter. Illyrian tricked me? That alchemist who lives in the bog? Toreth asked. Illyrian Fog Song. Kita nodded, surprised. You know him? Personally? No, but as lore keeper. Toreth frowned. I have heard his story. Illyrian answered the door with a smile. It's been a while, Kita. He raised his eyebrows when he saw Toreth behind her. Is this... Toreth Bluestar, he said, bowing. Thank you for being such a good friend to Kita. Illyrian smiled mischievously. Toreth told me about your family. Kita said at once, and bent and hugged him. Illyrian, I'm so sorry. He felt frail and small in her arms, and tensed as if affection was unfamiliar. How long since he'd been hugged by anyone? I've known you for so long now, she said, pulling back to search his face. I've told you so much about myself. Why keep this secret? Secrecy bandages the pain. Why would I remove it? Illyrian said, pale gold eyes looking anywhere but at her. Wife and daughter lost to a battle. I failed to supply with healing salves and antidotes, and me left with nothing but memories and regrets. He smiled a sad smile. Elaine was my wife, the finest soul I have ever known, funny and quick and sweeter than honey to those she loved. And Arietta was our daughter. From the moment we met, you reminded me of her. She was determined to become a sentinel alongside her mother, and nothing could stop her. He sighed heavily. Nothing but death. Kita nodded, settling on the pile of cushions beside Toreth and staying quiet. I wish I could have seen her destiny unfold, Illyrian said, shaking his head. Celebrate her victories, listen to her problems, and give her advice she wouldn't take. His eyes glittered in the lantern light. That all is gone forever. I've known the greatest joy and lost it in the swiftest stroke. So I stay down here and I do the thing I'm good at, and I try to help in little ways. You are very helpful, it's true, Kita said. That is not the reason I wish for you to come back to the village with us. Illyrian's face shut like a door. Foolishness. There's nothing there for me anymore. No friends, no family, no future. I would be as alone as I am in this bog. I've been without a family to return to for years, Kita said fiercely, and that got Illyrian to turn and look at her. But at a certain point, seeing you began to feel like coming home. Illyrian blinked and suddenly dabbed at his eyes. Give an old elf for being sentimental, but what a remarkably kind thing to say. Kita took out a wrapped bundle and offered it to him. It was a gamble, but she was feeling bold these days. 3 crescent stones, 2 moss bunches, and a night saber's tear, she winked. In the hands of a master alchemist, the mixture will help you see yourself as worthy of once again having a family. She took his hand in hers, placed it on the ingredients. I am just one sentinel, but I have love enough in my heart for a father of my choosing, if he will have me. Illyrian looked down, face unreadable. Then he smiled and took the bundle. All right, so this is obviously a greater parable of the sort of placebo, giving it this common theme in certain fairy tales. Take the placebo, give you the courage to do the thing you want to do. Also, themes of sort of found family being in some ways more true than a biological one, or maybe not more true, but as powerful as the family we choose as opposed to the family we're born into. There's some power in that as well. As far as the whole sentence, it's consistently referring, it's if it is an allusion to that, and I believe it's subject to interpretation, whether or not this has anything to do with like gender identity, but I think that's interesting. It wouldn't throw me off very much, or it wouldn't be that shocking because of this line though. Your family saw you as a boy when you were born, but you knew you were female. That's different. That's just who I am. But becoming who you are took boldness. And now you are a beautiful lady, and so on. And there's no other, before and after they refer to her as her and she, and there's never anything else. But that one paragraph right there makes me feel like but then they say a couple lines later on, it doesn't really corroborate anything, but not that I'm making any kind of comments about it. I just think it's noteworthy, and maybe I'm wrong. All right, everybody, I appreciate your journeys on this with me, or your accompaniment, your companionship on my journey. Thank you so much, and if you like it, subscribe, check it out. We're going to cover all the things, thought-provoking, silly, canon and non, and we'll get back into some gaming this weekend. We'll continue our horde traveling through the Searing Gorge. Good chance we'll finish it this weekend. This episode, In the Pipe 5x5.